Look, I stand by what I said. June 15th was the end of winter, beginning of spring. What I missed was Hurricane Sam. Summer, which I think starts in April, May, usually 9 months ahead of the halving, that's when things are going to get fun. We throw the trillion number around like it's nothing, right? We would have to sit here together for 31,710 years, which I promise would actually be most unpleasant, and spend $1 a second for 31,710 years. That's 1 trillion. And then as we get into crypto summer in April, May, then the traders will push that price above fair value. Now, the cool thing is the last part of that is then you win. But I will argue we've already won. If you're here, if you're in crypto, you've already won. I don't think we have an inflation problem. I think it's a semantics problem. Inflation is caused by excess demand and limited supply of goods and services. That's not what we had. We had plain old, good old-fashioned currency devaluation. The Fed doubled the money supply in 2020 and 2021, so an 18-month period. Look, we've been a republic for 247 years. It's a long time. 247 years. Half of all the dollars in the history of the republic were created in 18 months. Oh, look, inflation's coming down. Because bullshit. Inflation, the CPI number is coming down because oil prices went down, because Biden drained the SPR, and because used car prices went down, because we actually can get chips again. It has nothing, zero, to do with the Fed. Everyone thinks, well, we're going to get this big boom in the market. Well, has anyone seen earnings lately? They're not good. Why are they not good? Okay, first of all, that 2.9% is meaningless. Q3 and Q4 GDP are totally meaningless numbers because 3/4 of it is the release of the SPR. We're double counting the oil again. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the year-over-year change in GDP was 1%. 1% is a recession. Full on, that is a recession. It's the same as 2001. And we're reliving 2000 and 2002. Last year was 2001. I think this year will be 2002. And all the fraud's going to bubble up to the top. All the cooking of the books in corporate America is going to bubble to the top. And I don't know that we'll have an Enron. Everybody's like, oh, FTX is Enron. No. It's so small relative to what Enron was and WorldCom. And anyway, we throw the trillion number around like it's nothing, right? We would have to sit here together for 31,710 years, which I promise would actually be most unpleasant, and spend $1 a second for 31,710 years. That's 1 trillion. The problem with the debt is the service, right? We got to a low of 1.6% of GDP going on interest. We've never had higher than 3.2 ever. And we're starting to approach 3.2%. We can't exceed that, right? Now, the problem is the cult of Kelton. Stephanie Kelton, freaking crazy person, and the people that listen to her are even more stupid. She's convinced people of this nonsense that the government that has the world reserve currency and can print as much money as they want with no ill effect. If that were true, wouldn't every country just do it? Well, Mark, every country doesn't have the world reserve currency. Doesn't matter. If it were true that you could create wealth by printing money, everyone would do it. And so you can't. Wealth comes from work, productivity, innovation, like creation, right? Building businesses. It does not come from printing money. Math is hard when you start getting to these levels of numbers, but they believe you can put $1 trillion deficit and just ignore it like it's not there, but it's there. Look, I stand by what I said. June 15th was the end of winter, beginning of spring. What I missed was Hurricane Sam. It's still spring. It's just snowing. And so, look, we had a nor'easter. We had this Hurricane Sam. Bad people do bad things. And, I don't want to go all the way deep into the rabbit hole, but I got one thing to say on that. So Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline were the masterminds of nothing. Okay, they are not the masterminds. This is way bigger and way more evil than we need to talk about today. But and Howard Marks said it best. He said, the problem in this world is you have to decide between the good people who sound good and the bad people who sound good, because they're only people who sound bad make presentations. And so, I just got lucky, right? I mean, I never met the guy. I think there are way worse people above him. But my point is, yes, we had the dip from 18 down to 15 and then back to 18. We made the perfect cup and handle pattern. But spring, interestingly enough, you think about the 4-year cycle, spring is basically flat. The key there is spring
is flat.
Is flat. But there's a lot of volatility. Summer, which I think starts in April, May, usually 9 months ahead of the halving, that's when things are going to get fun. And the reality is Bitcoin was engineered so perfectly. It's really amazing when you think about it. That's why I'm pretty sure Satoshi's not a single person, because I don't think any one person could be this smart. I mean, just think about the halving. The halving guarantees number go up, because what happens on the halving is you have all the miners that are securing the network, and they have a fixed cost of electricity and space and machines. And suddenly the rewards go down in half. A whole bunch would go bankrupt unless the price goes up. The price going up tends to attract attention. Once the price starts moving, then you go from the investors who buy assets when they're below fair value, to traders who don't give a shit about value, they just want movement, to speculators. And speculators are just the opposite side of hedgers. So you have miners who have to sell Bitcoin. So speculators come in and take the other side. But then you have the degenerate gamblers. And this is where it gets bad. When people enter a market with leverage, that's what causes the stress. And that's what causes the massive volatility. And so today, the network value of the Bitcoin blockchain is somewhere high 20s, 28, 29. So as an investor, I'm buying because the current price is a liar, by the way. Price is not value. The price is below fair value. So I'm a buyer. And then as we get into crypto summer in April, May, then the traders will push that price above fair value. And I'll still buy dollar cost averaging, as Patrick was saying. Most important thing, don't buy it all at once. But I am certain, and I mean this, I am certain of one thing, that blockchain technology is the evolution of computing power that has been going on since the 50s, 54 the mainframe, 68 the microchip, 82 the personal computer, 96 the internet, 2010 the mobile net, 2024, which is next year, y'all, the truth net. And we are going to replace trust with truth. And blockchains are going to run everything. I am certain of that. And the Bitcoin blockchain is the most powerful supercomputer in the world. It is the most powerful computing network in the world by an order of magnitude of 1,500x. It's 1,500 times more powerful than CERN supercomputer. Owning a piece of that network is the most important thing you can do in this world. No, look, I mean, to that point, on CNBC, they called him, the JP Morgan of our age. They called him the John D. Rockefeller of our age, the Cornelius Vanderbilt of our age. I mean, hell, they called him they called him Jesus Christ. They called him the Jesus Christ of crypto. That's blasphemy. And down here in North Carolina, they called him the Michael Jordan, right? Even more blasphemous in North Carolina. But I mean, this guy perpetrated a fraud. Same thing with Elizabeth. And, people are like, oh, Tim Draper's an idiot. Tim Draper, literally one of the 5 smartest people I've ever met in my life. I'm privileged to be able to call him, I can't call him a friend, but
I love him.
Business partner, one of the smartest people on this planet. And yeah, he got hoodwinked by Elizabeth, but Elizabeth was a liar, I believe, and it's just my belief. I don't, and some of it's rooted in fact. I believe that a much larger group that does not want crypto to survive and thrive created. Look, there are too many weird things, right? This company didn't exist 6 years ago. Did not exist. And it became the second largest on paper because it actually wasn't real. Second largest crypto exchange in the world. Tell me where the original money came from to start the company. The company was started a week after Biden gets into office. The largest contributor to Biden's campaign was Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried's mother is a large Tornado Cash operator. That's not actually Tornado Cash, but basically what she does is the equivalent of Tornado Cash. She scrubs political campaign contributions so the venture capitalists can get around campaign finance laws. That's what she does. But here's the thing. If the government sends money on chain to the Ukrainian government, who then sends it to FTX, who then sends it to Alameda, who then puts it in a shell company. Here's a stat that is hard to believe. There are 400-ish companies in the Alameda portfolio, 400. 200 of them, just let that number sink in, 200 of them were shell companies owned solely by SBF. If $1 billion leaves banks and goes into crypto, no one cares. I describe it like this. 2009 to 15 was the first they ignore you phase. Right? Bunch of nerds and geeks playing with their magic internet money. Who gives a shit? No care. Then they laugh at you. 2016 to 21. God, look at those nerds and geeks playing with their magic internet money. A bunch of idiots. 2022 to 27. Then they fight you. Now, the cool thing is the last part of that is then you win. But I will argue we've already won. If you're here, if you're in crypto, you've already won because it's so inevitable that everything in the world will run on blockchains and it will be the power. We will all be self-sovereign and we will all, but the banks, $1 billion leaves, they don't care. $10 billion leaves, they don't care. $50 billion leaves, they care.